What it do, Dream Team? It's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video. Here we are with 47 years of Joe Biden's racist comments. We about to find out what Joe had to say. Joe, don't make me dive through the screen, Joe, because I will. We about to see what he said. Before we jump in, make sure you subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media, Patreon, all up top. You didn't subscribe to any of it? Put all the links in the description. All you got to do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Human. I talk right. You got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon, or in the description, there's a Google form link. What we got, Joe?
Apologize, like Cory Booker
Apologize for what?
Cory Booker's called for it.
Cory should apologize. He knows better. There's not a racist bone in my body. I've been involved in civil rights my whole career.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
You can't go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts without a slight Indian accent. Joe, he said, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. I'm not going to speak up. I'm not. Joe, you can think it. You can't say that, Joe. All right, keep it.
Unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
The world is different. There's too much unfinished business for us to just look backwards. We have to look to the future.
I know Joe. We know Joe. But most importantly, Joe knows us. That's right.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Yo, I'm not gonna say that one's really a racist comment. Know what I'm saying? Because he never said like black kids. He just said kids jumping on my lap. And when he was talking to him, he said, so I learned about roaches, I learned about kids. Well, I would say more, Joe, that was more of a pedophilia comment. You can't really say kids in the pool, kids rubbing my legs up and down. So I learned about kids jumping on my lap when I love kids jumping on my lap. Joe, keep the tape rolling. I'm
learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. Even call centers, which rushed overseas in the hundreds of thousands. How many times you get the call? I'd like to talk to you about your credit card. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're going to put you all...
I remember that one. Joe, you can't say poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids. He said like all the rich kids are white, all the poor kids are of minorities. Know what I'm saying? Which, to a certain extent, Joe, I'll agree with you. You're right to a certain extent. Just don't put all of them in a box like that, and don't say all rich kids are white. You know what I mean? Because it's some white kids that aren't rich. There's lots of them that aren't rich that go through the same struggle as well. But most of them, you know what I'm saying? Mostly white population, more money than a minority population. So to a certain extent, I'm gonna agree. Just
poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. They're gonna put you all back in chains.
We need, in my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now. The Democratic Party is diverse, and it should be reflected as so in our leadership.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Why does this happen?
Joe knew how to get that black vote. That's one thing I would say. That is one thing I was... Joe, look at me. I'm talking to you. You knew how to get that black vote, my guy. You knew what you were saying in order to get that vote. But Joe killing me, bro. He talking about they gonna put y'all back in chains. If you vote for Trump, you ain't black. You feel
problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Why does this
Chuck,
happen?
I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this because Chuck, I'm not going to do this because let me just be really clear. Vice President Biden absolutely has a respect level for all people around him, for voters across this country, young people, older voters, voters of color, black people, Latino voters, indigenous, Asian American, Pacific Islander. So I'm not going to even traffic in any hypothetical conversation about if he is sensitive enough. In my opinion, we don't need white people leading the Democratic Party right now.
But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I think Joe Biden might be suffering from that same white entitlement and privilege and ego, where he's just that old school white male who feels like, hey, man, they need me, I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he...
I think, yeah, I mean, I feel like Biden won just because, not that people were voting necessarily, like, I want Biden in the office. They were just voting, I don't want Trump to win. I don't want him back in the office. And so I think that's how Biden got into the office. You feel me? But these guys, these are killing me.
I don't need them, or I got them already.
Joe Biden is under fire this evening on comments he made about working alongside segregationist senators in the past.
Biden recalling his early Senate career, bringing up two segregationist senators, Herman Talmadge and James Eastland, who called African Americans an inferior race. I was in a caucus with James O. Eastland, Biden said. He never called me boy, he always called me son. At least there was some civility. We got things done. We didn't agree on much of anything. We got things done.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South. Other than the fact that they still call me boy, I think they've changed their mind a little bit.
It's that old school white male.
Yeah, they was tripping back then, bro. They was saying words that shouldn't have been said. I'll tell you that. I'll say that.
I think they've changed their mind a little bit.
It's that old school white male.
The integration plans being offered are really just a quota system to assure a certain number of blacks, Chicanos, or whatever in each school. That, to me, is the most racist concept you can come up with. What it says is, in order for your child with curly black hair, brown eyes, and dark skin to be able to learn anything, he needs to sit next to my blonde hair, blue-eyed son. No, I don't agree with that statement. I think that statement could keep kids segregated. Know what I'm saying? That statement right there is just saying that, hey, like, we want these schools to be more diverse. We want these kids of different races to all, know what I'm saying, be learning the same things. It's not saying that, hey, the only way you can learn is be sitting next to my blonde hair, blue-eyed son. So I disagree with that one.
It's that old school white male.
He was trying to keep it segregated. It was this Biden who said this. He was trying to keep it segregated.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
30 seconds or less. What kind of a chance would a northeastern liberal like Joe Biden stand in the South if you were running in Democratic primaries against Southerners like Mark Warner and John Edwards?
Better than anybody else. And you don't know my state. My state was a slave state. My state is a border state. My state is the 8th largest black population in the country. My state is anything from a northeast liberal state.
It's that old school white male.
Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Not the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that
What did it say? Translation: articulate and clean. Obama looks black but acts white. He's one of us. I guess if you try to read between the lines, but then that's just kind of assuming that's what he meant by saying that, because he didn't actually come out and say it. But it could be a correct assumption, so I don't know.
My son is Attorney General a year in Iraq, came back, and that's one of the things that he finds was most in need. When he was over there in Iraq for a year, people would come to him and talk about what was happening at home in terms of foreclosures, in terms of bad loans that were these Shylocks who took advantage of these women and men. Back from Mumbai to go meet with President Xi in China. I stopped in Singapore to meet with a guy named Lee Kuan Yew, who most foreign policy experts around the world say is the wisest man in the Orient. There's not a racist bone in my body. But I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Joe Biden really is that ignorant, and that is who the Democrats want you to stand in line and vote for. When he said racist comments, I'm thinking he gonna come out and say some deep racist stuff, you know what I'm saying? But some of it was just kind of putting assumptions on what he said, adding meaning to what he said, and so unless you don't really know if he actually meant it. Some of them were. Some of these comments, when the integration and segregation, I don't know if he was friends with the guy or he had worked with the guy who said that, or that was Joe who actually said that about the integration system. I feel like I disagree with that comment. That was sort of a racist comment. Other than that, Joe just seemed a little. He just knew how to get the black. He was trying to go for the black vote. It was just obvious. He was trolling at the kind of, not trolling, but he was going for that black vote, and he was. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Know what I'm saying? I'm here to represent y'all, so vote for me. That's what I was getting out of that. That's all we got for this one. If you guys got a favorite video you want to see or hear me react to, you can subscribe to Patreon or in the description section or the Google form link. Hit the link, fill out your suggestions, send it to me. Want me to get to yours faster? Others fill out premium. Make sure you hit subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Social media and Patreon, all up top. You can subscribe to any of it. Put all the links in the description. All you gotta do is hit the link, follow me, talk to me. Love talking to you guys. You guys are the most incredible team on YouTube. It's your boy D. Out.